right, there we go.
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 16 millimeter film crew. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Dale.
You can watch us on YouTube. You can like and comment on our YouTube videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us everywhere podcasts are found at 16 millimeter film crew podcast. And you can visit us on our website at www.16millimeterfilmcrew.com. This week, we watched Babygirl, directed by Helena Range. A high-powered CEO puts her career and family on the line when she begins a torrid affair with her much younger intern. This movie stars Nicole Kidman, Harris Dickinson, Sophie Wilde, and Antonio Banderas. So, Dale, walk us through your experience with
Like
this film.
the most apropos definition of this movie I can give is like milk toast.
What do
Um,
you mean by that?
I don't. It's like meh. It's like super mid. Like I know for everybody when they saw this trailer or knew the movie was coming out, their initial inclination was Unforgiven with Diane Lane. So that's gonna be honestly your biggest comparison with this movie. That 50 Shades of Grey. There are a lot of movies that deal with this kind of subject matter that draw your particular interest in it. And a lot of people, I guess, some people are denying it, saying you shouldn't compare um movies with the same genre with the same subject matter, even though there are many different actresses, because we do with male actors do the same thing where they might all do like the same type of movie, but I do it with male actors. Like I will compare like a Tom Cruise or uh, um uh Brad Pitt movie if they're still in the same subject matter, or compare one to the other. But as far as them there being so other better movies in this erotic thriller genre, yeah, this was kind of really meek to me. Like I got like into like an hour and like 4 minutes in the movie and I was like, I can't watch anymore. Like literally to the halfway point. Like usually when the action is rising at that point, and it just didn't draw me in, and I couldn't finish it. So,
Yeah, that's what I heard that people kind of fell off during the back half of this film. Um, and my opinion is that I I think the themes in it are interesting. I just don't I think the framing is hard for me. I think the framing of there's an older woman who needs to hasn't felt sexually fulfilled.
mhm,
And so she has this affair and I'm kind of just not with it. Whether it's doesn't matter the gender, because it does feel like a gender swapped kind of thing where it's usually like the big important boss and the young intern who's a woman.
mhm,
And now the big important boss is a woman and the young intern is a man.
mhm,
The genders don't really mean like if you swap it, it doesn't. I know it does present interesting dynamics, maybe kind of because it's complicated in the way where it's like ultimately she still has the power because she still is his boss.
mhm.
But I think what I don't like is the cheating. I just really hate that aspect of it. I really hate that like for in a lot of these movies like that is what happens where it's like someone's married and whether you have it be like some random man or woman or have the spouse be someone as beautiful as Antonio Banderas, like it doesn't seem to matter. Like there has to be an affair in order to kind of make the situation even more tawdry. And I just kind of feel like, can we not do that? Like 50 Shades of Grey is not, those movies aren't good, but at least they were both single.
Mhm.
They were both single. I think he was a couple years older than her. Their power imbalance comes from him mostly just having more money than she does. But like it feels like it's on somewhat more, except for the money thing that kind of makes the imbalance a little bit more, ex obvious. But I think that like at least they are both single and they're just like figuring this thing out together. It really irritates me when it's like they have to have an affair. Like we have to raise the stakes of this relationship of exploring the BDSM situation by
Mhm.
having her married, having her have children. So like she has more to lose if this doesn't work out. And I would argue that she has so much to lose already, considering that she's his boss and he is her intern. Like that to me is enough of like you worked so hard to build all of this for like your career, and you're now at risk of losing it because you're messing with someone who is your employee.
Yeah,
Like we could have just left it there, but no, we have to add in the husband and kids. And I just don't like it because I think his Antonio Banderas' perspective does get explored in this film, but at the end of the day, he is a supporting character. And I don't like that that the affair stuff always happens and you're always seeing it from the person who's perpetrating it, not seeing like how their actions are affecting the other people in their lives. And that kind of pisses me off. Like if you're
yeah,
gonna do that, then like we need to see like the real ramifications of like how this gets broken down, like once you make those type of decisions. And in the end, everything works out fine. Like Samuel and her husband, oh, I forgot his name, but Antonio Banderas, they fight, they have a little screaming match, and then Samuel leaves and Antonio Banderas and Nicole Kidman get back together. So it's just like,
it's
okay,
like
well,
all that for perfection at the end.
right, all that for it's just like, okay, well then
Yeah,
it pisses me off because it's like, well, if you were having intimacy issues, why didn't you just like have a real conversation with your husband about it
yeah.
instead of risking everything to have this little affair? And then I don't know, did she hope that things were gonna get back on track? Like maybe because she does explain to her, like she tells him the truth.
Mm.
Like, yes, I did this. And he rightfully gets upset. But it's like we could have avoided all of this if you just had some honest conversations with this dude. Like, it's just really annoying that we're going through all of this and like a whole marriage has to be upended. I just don't like the cheating thing. I just feel like you can write good conflict without having that. And I feel like no one really, it seems like an easier way to do it if you just put a affair in it rather than playing with the dynamics that you already have at hand, um, explicitly being the fact that she's his employer and seeing and then also exploring the themes of like female sexuality and pleasure and shame and all those other things that are really interesting. You could have just did that. I think throwing the affair in it just doesn't make, to me, it's just like a not a, it's just like, yeah, it's a unnecessary thing to throw into these movies that I really wish was just like, stop.
Yeah, and and the genre, like in the even in the last couple years, like we just talked about 50 Shades of Grey, how it's not the power imbalance isn't really that big, it's more a monetary one. And I mentioned in Faith on Unfaithful with Diane Lane that came out like 2002. We had Fair Play that came out in
Yeah.
2003, which is a married couple both working on their job and also doing that psychological romance thriller when it also crosses a boundary to a negative where he rapes her unconsensual, he rapes her, and their relationship dissolves. We had Deep Water, Ben Affleck and what's her name again? Mine went
Ana
blank.
de Armas.
Ana de Armas, yes, where his jealousy, she's cheating on him, jealousy, and then she goes, "Oh, I like this power dynamic," and then she goes, "Okay, we'll stay." Like there's a bunch of other thriller aspects with Girl Gone, that kind of thing, have executed this genre so much, so perfectly, and this just left me with like, damn, this is like baby's first, romance, BDSM, erotica turned to a script. It's yeah. And the weird thing is, like, I think there's one point before the midpoint in the movie, like in between like Act One and Act or before Act Two, like before she meets Antonio at the premiere of his play, and not the premiere, but at the rehearsal for his play, and the first thing he says like, "Oh, you don't come by here often. Last time you came by here, you accused me of cheating." And I wish they had hints like that's a big bomb to drop. And like when you're getting to know the characters and she's kind of already somewhat establishing a relationship with her younger, the not even just that, she's a CEO of a company, he is an intern, and she's supposed to be his mentor. That's a nice bomb you drop there that they don't touch on for the rest of the film. Like it'd be nice to like have that linchpin of her still worrying deep down about the fear of her husband cheating, that being part of the linchpin that drives her to do what she does. But it's just like a throwaway line that has nothing to do with the overall plot, you know. And my thing also with this movie is, okay, fine, you both work for the company. You're CEO. Once again, you're the intern. And apparently, there is a mentorship program. Like the idea that the CEO would randomly put inside the company's mentorship program to take time out of the day to day operations of a company to mentor an intern for 10 to 15 minutes every day. And then not only that, they're having their meetings in their corporate offices where, you know, out of nowhere that nothing's being recorded, and they're talking about, oh, you need to consent to listen to me for a sexual relationship to continue. Like that's not like what? That's like so odd and weird. Like there's so many inconsistencies and small little plot holes, I think, that don't just help make this movie fall apart and don't draw you in anymore. You know?
Yeah, it's an interesting setup. I think they did it just to like show like what the or maybe ask questions about power dynamics
Yeah.
and like okay, fine. Like I don't know. I don't want to disrespect anyone who's a part of this community, but I simply don't care about these things like the BDSM thing. I mean, I learned some things, but like I just don't care. Like, because it's, I guess it depends on like their audience member,
Hmm.
how much you can get from this film. Because
Yeah.
I kind of just felt like, all right, I don't care about any of this. Like, I don't care, not any of it. Sorry, let me back up. It's not that I don't care about any of it. I just don't care about the BDSM power dynamics, like the pet play or whatever. I think what it's trying to show is that this woman has never been sexually satisfied and that she does other things that she feels shameful for because maybe she feels like it's outside of her marriage, or maybe she feels like really lucky that she has a great husband who loves her and is caring, and she has this great family, but she still can't feel any
Sexual desire.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Um, and like okay, I'll rock with it as I'll rock with the BDSM as a vehicle to get us there. That's
Hmm.
fine. I just don't really care about it in general. So like I just don't I wasn't getting anything from it. Like I was just like, okay, fine. I'm glad that you feel things and that you're happy because I think that female sexuality is always it's never like as kind of overly pronounced. It's never as playful. It's never as conversated about um in general. It's always been under a light of like a lot of shame.
Hmm.
Um and it doesn't matter like if you come from a religious background or not, because she came from a cult. So like but like but I feel like it women's sexuality is never like spoken about, celebrated the way that men's is. So I
Yeah.
do get it. And I like that's what I'm saying. I like that aspect of like let's unpack those things. I feel like that's actually really interesting. Um, but maybe there were certain elements that just didn't hit it off. One of them is Samuel for me. Like he is just a very oddball, odd, strange
Yeah.
person. And like a YouTuber actually described him as like a neurodivergent like D&D playing like weird white boy and I was just like he is kind of giving like you could be a serial killer in like another life. Not
Yeah.
that if you play D&D you are one. I'm just saying like he was giving that like I will blow up this building kind of
Yeah.
energy. He's just a strange dude. And I guess his strangeness, like, and the fact that he isn't really fleshed out at all, he's more of like
Insert character, basically.
he's like a human embodiment of her own desires. And so because of that, he doesn't really get it back. So we don't know anything about him. He just kind of appears. He's in this really intense relationship with Nicole Kidman, and then he just leaves, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's over. And it's just like, well, that doesn't work for me either. It's just like, because it's just like, well, why don't we know anything about this person? Like, he's he's so much a part of not only the film but also her personal growth and her fulfillment, her sexual fulfillment. Like it's weird that we don't know anything about him. And so it's just that threw me off because I was just like, well, then what's going on here? Is it solely about Nicole Kidman? Because if like it is, then okay, fine. But like, I feel like we should know something about this other character because he kind of just comes out of nowhere and is just weird. Like he's
Mm.
just a weird dude. And then he's gone. So I was just like, okay, sure.
It's weird. It feels like his portrayal to me, like it's basically like a creepy Austin Butler.
Okay,
Like,
interesting.
cause they do look similar, very very similar. But in watching like a lot of Austin Butler's movies, he does have that slight suave naivete about him in his roles. Whereas like you said with Finn, like Harris Dickerson, it's the actor's name, his portrayal comes off a little more like you said, like this man could be like a murder, like almost some Jeffrey Dahmer shit. Like it's not suave. It's just like really really creepy and cringy, and
Hmm.
somehow she buys into it, and like and I wish like you mentioned something perfect. Like the issue is not the BDSM, it's its narrative use in the movie. Like
Hmm.
because the BDSM is not used as a vehicle to describe to just to delve more into her character. Like the BDSM is just, oh, this movie needs sex. So her BDSM, her need to be dominated and her and or be submissive, you know, is the play. Like if they had really broke down the psychological analysis of her character through her need for BDSM or for that switch, for that kink, they probably would have helped the movie a lot. But it's just a surface level value. Like, oh, I'm not sexually satisfied, and here comes this intern who, I saw him like stop a dog on the street, and I'm stuck fantasizing about him and and it's not and it's weird. It's not even like an equal flirtation at all. She's just like constantly staring at him, really creepy. There's no like there's it, and then he plays into it. So it's not like it didn't showcase any equal like flirtation back and forth. And I think also that's also the worst part about it. It seems like almost she was like preying on him in a way
Mm.
after that first interaction on the street. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it because it's just like this is a film that was like going around on TikTok. Like it was very in the same vein of Saltburn, where it's like you're
Yes,
you're
yeah.
looking for kind of like these shocking
Hmm.
moments. Um, you're also like being fed by, and this is I think a very like Gen Z way of like understanding media, where it's like if the visuals are great, if
The
the
movie is
people who
great,
are
yeah.
in it are hot, if the soundtrack is bumping, then like it's a great film. And I just feel like we maybe need to take a step back and like really analyze like what makes a really good movie because I feel like that is sort of going by the wayside a little bit. It's like we have more knowledge than ever about these type of topics. These kind of movies were not getting made decades prior to this, but it kind of also feels like we're missing some things,
Hmm.
or maybe we're just not asking the right questions. Because for me, if this was simply a movie about a woman who was being sexually unfulfilled, who had not been fulfilled her entire marriage, who was trying to curate this perfectly beautiful life, because she was insecure, had shame, all these different things, and goes through a journey of like self-discovery through, I don't know, some other way, not an affair, and especially not an affair with your intern. Like that's freaking crazy. Like, but if it was just like a journey between her and her husband, because there are moments between Nicole and Antonio where like he is trying to like give her what she wants. Like he's trying to understand like what she needs and provide that for her. But she gets embarrassed and then she doesn't want to do it anymore. And she just goes back to Samuel. So it's like if we just took the Samuel piece out of it and just had it focus on this marriage in particular, have it be like a marriage story, not like type of vibe where it's about this couple kind of coming apart and then coming back together again. I think that would have been really interesting. And then Nicole Kidman could have been the focus of that as well. Like it could have really just been her story and her journey. But I think when you add in the affair with the intern and the BDSM stuff, it just kind of feels like you're trying to make a very sexy movie. And actually, when this movie was coming out, that's what the director said about it. She was like, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I know it's the sexiest movie that anyone has ever seen, basically.
Mm,
And maybe that's just the point. And so if the answer is the point is that she wanted to make a very sexy movie, then I think she probably did that.
yeah.
Nicole Kidman and Harry Dixon are hot. Like I get it. So like you're not sold, but Nicole Kidman for her age, she looks great.
Yeah.
Um, but I just feel like if that's the point, then that's the point. And I don't
Mm,
have to look into it anymore. And I won't because I don't care.
okay. Yeah.
But if there was a point to be made, if they were trying, because it seemed like they were trying to like lay some ground for like other stuff, like
Hmm.
they kind of laid the ground, like some like planted some seeds of some things that never actually came to fruition. Um, I don't think that those things were really fleshed out well. So
Yeah. You know, like you said, and I'm not going to pretend I'm not, a victim of this. Like I said, if the visuals look good, it is that initial draw. But some people think once the visuals are good, that's all that the movie needs to be good. I still like Saltburn. I don't care. But
it's a terrible movie.
yeah.
It's terrible. And it's a
We
ripoff
all
of the
we
talented Mr.
look.
Ripley. Like,
I mean, it's better than the talented Miss Ripley we got with the other day. So
what are you talking about?
it's better than the most recent talented Miss Ripley with
No, it's not.
it's it.
With Andrew Garfield? I mean, it's
Yeah,
Garfield, but Andrew Scott?
yeah.
That was
Kind
really good.
kind of sort of, but anyway, but no, like you are right. Some people go for it. Like it seems more drawing in people like style over substance, I guess, and that's people's initial draw for a lot of movies. I don't know, and it kind of feels weird. To like, I don't want to feel bad. It kind of feels somewhat bad to like hit and I guess deride this film. And cause it feels like to me Nicole Kidman's on a bit of a career resurgence. Like the last 5 or 6 years, of course, she was in Bombshell. She was in Killing a Sacred Deer. Of course, you have Baby Girl. You have this. She showed up in what? What's the show with Dang, she played Gamora in Marvel. Zoe Saldana. She's in Lion. She shows up in Lioness, and then also she has the Perfect Couple show, which kind of almost has the same premise a bit as this. Married family. People look up to it. Particularly a white woman with a secret to hide. You know. But yeah. So and
Well,
if you
yeah, sorry,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, the other thing is that she just did a movie about the same dynamics with Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Like they literally just put that out the same year that this movie came out.
Yeah.
And I love Nicole Kidman. Like the girl is busy. She will not stop working, and I'm grateful. Like I think she's an amazing actress, and I love that she's the kind of actress who would do a role like this, especially because it's sometimes it's kind of difficult to get older women, not because they don't want to, but because studios don't want them to
Don't.
be in these
Yeah.
kinds of movies. And I'm love that she is doing it. I love that Kate Winslet is doing it. I love that Demi Moore is doing it. Like I'm grateful for that.
Hmm.
And I'm grateful for her legacy. Like Nicole Kidman did Eyes Wide Shut. Like she is the original like it girl of like erotic thrillers. So
Hmm.
like this is her thing. And I'm glad that she's still doing it. And I
Hmm.
think she was great. But
Yeah.
it's just that like this is a movie where it's like I think I just don't know. It's not for me. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more specific in how I talk about movies where it's like I'm not gonna say that it's bad because a lot of people really liked it.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna say is that it's not for me.
Yeah.
Good or bad, I don't know. That's not my y'all can decide
Oh
how
no.
you feel about
Most.
that film. Because there's some films where I'm just like, nah, that was crap. Like that
Yeah.
wasn't good. For this one, I'm not gonna say that, especially because it's like a woman directed it and wrote it. Like I'm not trying
Yeah.
to rain on anyone's parade, especially the girls. Like I'm not trying to do that. And honestly, I feel like Ella, the girl who was in Talk to Me, who was also in this movie, came out the best out of this entire situation. She absolutely killed it, and I love seeing her in movies. So like I'm all for it. It's just like this movie just was not for me, and I think that that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's not like a critique. Like movies have to make and they have to make the audience feel something. If it doesn't make you feel something, you know, it could be for linear reasons, but it's just yeah, the movie didn't make me feel a thing I thought I was gonna feel, so I didn't enjoy it. Sometimes you can't put your finger on it to describe as to why it didn't make you feel that way. Well, other
Mm,
movies you can. I think with this movie, I could probably put my finger on why it didn't make me feel a certain way more so than others. But yeah,
yeah, I felt uncomfortable during some place. Some of it was
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
It was also funny. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Mm.
There's
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot going on.
not really a fan. And as it, am I being a fuddy duddy? But I'm not a fan of movies selling sex for sex sake. You know.
Yeah, I agree. Me either.
So pretty light news cycle for right now. Um, but one of the major stories out right now is trending is John Boyega speaks out with his Star Wars experience. He did it a couple years ago, like I think in the early like 2010, not 2010, 2020, in GQ about Disney fumbles the diversity efforts or diversity focus in Star Wars. But this time he did so being involved in the Apple TV documentary. Number one on the call sheet, leading black men in Hollywood. Just preface this one's for before we continue. Apple TV has like amazing content on their streaming platform, like some of the best ever. But back to the story at hand. Um, so he gave his experience and his role as Finn in Star Wars, and as well as toxic harassment from Star Wars fans, especially from as a black man playing a lead in a hero, a lead in a franchise and a hero. He went on to say, "Let me tell you, Star Wars always had the vibe of being the most white elite space. It's a franchise that's so white that a black person existing in it was something. You can always tell it's something when Star Wars fans say, 'Hey, we had Lando Calrissian and we had Samuel L. Jackson.' It's like telling me how many cookie chips are in cookie dough. It's like we just scattered them in there, bro." Basically alluding to the fact that yeah, we've had two major people of actors of color in the Star Wars franchise, but they're always kind of second fiddle to everybody else. Sam Jackson's character only takes a more present role later on in the prequel trilogy, and Lando Calrissian is kind of a bystander at most for after his premiere in Empire Strikes Back, So I can understand that voice. He goes on to say, piggybacking off that GQ issue is big GQ article. He said they knew what to do with Daisy, they knew what to do with Adam Driver. But when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, who debuted in the second the second threequel trilogy, which is on Rise of Skywalker, or no, The Last Jedi, she premieres, and when it came to him, fuck all. So what do you want me to say? What they want me to say is I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. He goes on to say, nah, I'll I'll take the deal when it's a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest, Daisy noticed and Adam knows it. Everybody knows this. I'm not exposing anything. Which, to his credit, he's not wrong. I remember seeing the initial trailer and poster for, The Force Awakens. He's featured prominently in it. Like, he goes as far as holding his lightsaber, like we saw at the end of the movie. He's featured prominently in the marketing of holding lightsaber. And, he's the main impetus to draw you into the movie. Like the first couple minutes, like we focus on him being a former stormtrooper and almost defecting, and we're with him on the journey. Then Daisy shows up. We're with them both on the journey, and then the last scene is he steps to play. It's like, oh, I'll fight Kylo Ren before Daisy finally kicks in and does it. They almost set the stone for me as a Star Wars fan, as a black man, almost like okay, they're gonna both be Jedi's at some point, but they kind of derailed that fact and made John Boyega almost a psychic character, both him and Oscar Isaac's role as Poe Dameron, on the lead, high flying starfighter captain, playing almost a Han Solo like role where it kind of feels like once they saw the fans' interest in once again Poe Dameron, they kind of took Han Solo and split him into two for both Finn and Oscar Isaac's character. But yeah, I kind of can see exactly where he's coming from, not just as a Star Wars fan, but as a black man, that they kind of did drop the ball on his character, and you kind of do see that once again, with the Obi-Wan show. Young lady was the lead driving force of the show, almost the lead villain for most of it, and then she gets derailed and not spoken of ever again. You know, if Disney is going to hire these black actors in prominent roles in Star Wars going forward, they kind of have to have their back. Like they canceled Acolyte for this very same reason. The two main leads for Acolyte, that leads for Acolyte were, two Asian men and a black woman, and fans derided it as not being Star Wars, once that's what they were given. So I think the creative minds behind Star Wars needs to, if they're gonna cast black and more diverse people in these roles, they have to be aware of like, look, they have to be given fulfilling storylines, and also they can't kowtow to a small segment of the online space that we see now global, not globally, but particularly in this country, that don't enjoy or really care for any kind of diversity in their projects at all. So
Um, yeah, and I feel like you also just need to have black people in the writing room when you're telling these kinds of stories, as well as I don't know, like what you said, like really backing up your black actors or your actors of color. Because if you know that their response is going to be negative, because that seems to have been the case in every single one of these projects, you cannot just be like, okay, well, we'll just put them to the side so you will still get the viewership. Like you really have to fight for them. Um, because I don't know, it seems so counterintuitive in terms of like the story where it's like it's so vast and it's covering so many different like what is it planets like it just seems like such a big thing where you could have so many different people and some different backgrounds be a part of it that it's weird that people who like love the franchise won't accept it. It's a very strange dynamic. Like it doesn't make sense to me at all. But
yeah. And it's funny when as a fan of sci-fi, looking at both franchises, Star Wars and Star Trek are at the forefront of that
mhm.
landscape. Star Wars might have been the more flashy, more attractive, one. The one that honestly kids will gravitate to because its action scenes and its fighting is the one that bounce your head. But for me, Star Trek has always been the one at the forefront of diversity, in
Yes.
its at all its mediums. Like we've had of course, we've had two black captains in Star Trek. We've had two female captains. They're more willing to showcase the diversity in their project over there. Like Star Trek had like the first interracial kiss on broadcast television. It's like the 1960s, between
Mm-hmm.
William Shatner and Nicole Nichols, that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
Star Wars needs to do better.
Hmm. Okay, so here's a little update from a story that we covered last week following the Oscar-winning Palestinian director of No Other Land. So he has been released from the police station that he was being held in the West Bank, and the Academy has apologized for not adequately supporting the director. So the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences issued a statement to its members on Friday apologizing for not adequately expressing its support of the Palestinian Oscar-winning filmmaker Hamdan Bilal, sorry, Bilal, who won this year's feature-length documentary, No Other Land, and he was a co-director on that, which was about the difficulties of life under Israeli occupation. Said he was attacked on Monday by Israeli settlers. Um, and the Academy's initial statement was sent out Wednesday to its members. It did not include Belal's name or the title of his film. And so, what a group of actors did was they produced a letter, and it was like Pedro Pascal and Olivia Colman and like a whole bunch of other actors who were just like, you need to speak his name and recognize the situation that he is in. Because it seemed like it took them a while to even like respond to his arrest and
Mhm.
detainment, unlawful detainment. So like, um, they had to produce an updated statement after they a group of actors had already like sent a letter saying that you have to be stronger on this point. Um, the Academy said that we regret that we failed to directly acknowledge Mr. Balal and the film by name. We sincerely apologize to him and all artists who felt unsupported by our previous statement and want to make it clear that the Academy condemns violence of this kind anywhere in the world. Um, and I just like it really, every time they do something like this, it's amazing that the Academy did award both directors for this film, but when it came to the actual violence that the Palestinian director was experiencing, they were slow to speak about it.
Hmm.
And it just again speaks to this very pro-Israel placement that most of Hollywood seems to have, at least from the kind of older school establishment figures that they seem to have, versus a lot of the actors, a lot of the members who understand what's going on in Gaza and who understand what's going on in the West Bank for Palestinians and have been very outspoken about it. I will say we have come a long way from December 2023, where it's like people were getting fired from their jobs for talking about this.
Yeah.
At least we have taken a step forward in the fact that we can call it what it is, which is a genocide, and you can talk about it without feeling like your job is endangered. But deep rooted, it's still an issue that the Academy has with really recognizing that this is a huge problem for Palestinians, or even like recognizing their struggle. And had it just been the Palestinian director who had made this film, who knows if it would have even won anything? Maybe
Hmm.
it also needed the co-sign from the Israeli director. So
Hmm.
like, there's a lot there. But I'm just glad that he's released and that people were upset enough to be like, no, we're gonna call you guys out for
Yeah.
not standing by the person who you literally just gave an award to.
Yeah, that's a real jarring thing. An organization that you've like this is kind of the thing where I wrestle with the Oscars as a award show and an organization. Like at one point one of my biggest dreams was to win like an Oscar for like film editing or even like an Emmy for editing, that kind of thing. But then it's clear that the Oscars is an organization, of course, as much as they try to now. They seem to have learned from a lot of their mistakes from the past. Like they're changing, but the change is still coming a little bit too slow. So yeah, that's one of my major gripes with the Oscars, in general. Like you're admitting your flaws, but you're taking you so long to respond. Like it becomes a moot at a certain point. Like I don't really want to hear it anymore. It becomes like almost not lip service, but yeah, kind of just like lip service. So yeah. So and who, like you said, who knows? Had the co-director for the project not been Israeli and also advocating for his friend and partner's life, there probably would not have been a global response. There probably would not have been a reaction from the Israelis to release him from, his
Mm,
captivity. So yeah. Um, moving on to the I know that's a big issue globally and socially. The big Hollywood issue, I guess, on this side, is of course Marvel, had released their cast and crew, well, more so their cast for Avengers Doomsday. And that video they put on their website saying they're gonna announce a live stream of the thing, that was like so unnecessary. It was like every hour the music would shift, and then so I was like working on stuff in the background, watching. I went like, oh, okay, cool, they're gonna reveal the whole cast. And then I was like, yo, why is there only like they're doing the chairs? And I'm here waiting for like 15 minutes. Oh, when's the next name? I'm like, y'all doing too much to get these view counts up. So I dumped off like after I saw like Paul Rudd's name in like a little chair, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna waste my life, watching this. But there are some very interesting omissions from the casting as we blue skied out earlier on the casting. So of course, they haven't released, Benedict and Tom Holland because, they're probably still going to be involved, but it's not really a big announcement. It seems like a lot of these announcements they named were people who haven't really been featured recently in a lot of projects, of course, other than I guess Paul Rudd, being Ant-Man, and of course the big draw at the end of the movie was Iron Man. But of course you have a guy like Ryan Reynolds, his Deadpool, kind of being brought in. He wasn't mentioned. The big outline glares are to me like a lot of like black talent not being mentioned in this, particularly not even just black talent, but like you had like we tweeted out was the cast from the Marvels not being mentioned at all. You know, Amon Vellani, of course, Brie Larson and Diana Paris. Like, of course, that movie. I can see. I know why. From a box office issue, that they're not going to mention them because the Marvels did not do the numbers they were expecting, but they're not. They're still important to the narrative they're selling, and they weren't mentioned. Not only that, Don Cheadle wasn't mentioned, coming off of Secret Invasion, which was really done really poorly to his character. His character of War Machine, as James Roden mentioned, neither is of course Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, and people still have no idea where Paul Bettany's vision is at the end of WandaVision. So maybe they'll come in, as surprise castings. But yeah, I kind of find it on a bit on the nose that a lot of the key people in Marvel that weren't mentioned were either some women or people of color. So
Yeah, I saw the announcement bit stream on YouTube and I was like, I'm not clicking on that. And I didn't. So I went on my Instagram and Downing Jr. had already posted the video. So I was just like, okay, well, this is it.
mm,
Um, it's interesting because it's like, it's kind the way that they did it, it also sort of spoils Thunderbolts because
mm,
you know who's going to survive to the next one and you know who will not be joining us in Avengers Doomsday. So they kind of blew up their own spot there by announcing the cast, but whatever. Um, I'm not going to read too much into who they didn't announce and like if it was women or if it was black people because like uh, from my understanding of it, it's that like they're purposely not announcing certain people
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's supposed to be a surprise. Like I was looking for Tom Holland's name, did not show up, and Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's like, oh, well, they're gonna be in the movie. It's just that they're trying to keep it like a secret,
Mm,
or they're putting it into the second one, which is Secret Wars. So there will be more people appearing in that. I think the X-Men, a lot of the other X-Men are going to show up in that one as well.
hmm
So I get it, and like I don't know about the Marvels thing because I was wondering about that too. I was just like, oh, none of the Marvels have been announced in this movie, but is it because the movie did poorly? I'm not sure how that works. I don't watch the shows really. I'm watching Daredevil, but that's like literally it. I watched Loki, but that was
hmm
a while ago. So I'm not really sure how all of their stuff kind of factors back into the whatever they're setting up right now. I have no idea
hmm
because I didn't watch her show. What was it called again?
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I didn't watch Miss Marvel, so I don't really know anything about that. So I'm kind of confused.
hmm
If they show up great, I will be fine with it. But because I didn't watch that one, I didn't watch WandaVision either, so I don't really know about that crew.
hmm
But I hope that they're in the movie.
I mean,
That's all I will say.
I'm personally, not honestly not surprised. Like you said, they're probably going to be picked up for the second part of it because I think it's a two-parter. It's like a quick
Yeah.
rewrite. Um, and I'm not surprised, especially given the fact that Anthony Mackie did an interview like a couple days ago talking about him not knowing he was going to be in the last Avengers team up movie. Was it Endgame?
Oh,
Like,
you didn't know?
yeah, he apparently one of the Russos called him, was like, "Yo, I need you to record these lines here, like Steve on your left, that line." And so when he goes to prepare a movie, he goes, "Oh, there I am." Like, I guess I think they probably might have CGI'd him because he's flying around. He's not, you don't really see him, he's flying
Mm,
around. And then we actually see him physically. But he said he didn't really know he was in the movie until he got that call, asking to like record lines on a phone and send it to him, that kind of thing. So yeah, is Marvel kind of keeps things, I guess, tight-lipped to the point where even most talent does not know that they're in projects coming up until like the 12th hour when they, film them.
mm,
So yeah.
mm. Okay. Well, we'll see what that's about when it comes out next year. Um, and so now let's move on to what we've been watching. Yeah.
I have become I've been watching a not a K drama, but like a K noir thriller in a way,
Hmm.
called My Name. Came out I think on Netflix in 2001. Action is very engrossing. It's basically about like a cop who's kind of undercover, not really a cop, like she's a gang member undercover for the almost like Departed in a way, but she's working for a gang while working for the cops and trying to toe that line of not being exposed. And every time she gets caught being exposed, she kind of like fucks up something to where no one knows about it. So yeah, inter- amazing, a good watch. I'm enjoying it so far. Like the initial first episode, I wasn't so sure about her character and stuff, but like homegirl ratcheted up her intensity and was like, okay, I fucks with you a lot. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm on like episode 5, and it's like episodes. Each episode is like an hour long. Once again, I will say when it comes to foreign TV shows and miniseries or series in general, more often than not, they have an endpoint in mind compared to what we have over here. Like, oh, we only doing like 10 or 8 episodes, and that's it. Here is like, oh, the show is good. Cool, we gotta crank out a season two somehow. If it doesn't make sense, we gotta somehow crank out a season two. And I love the fact that, Asian market and some of the European market really say, no, this story is self-contained. It doesn't need a second season. We're gonna tell our story in these 8 or 10 segments, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was on vacation recently and I was watching Abbott Elementary on the plane. And I started the first 3 episodes like 2 years ago or something like that, but I couldn't get into it for some reason. But I was on the plane watching it and having the time of my life. I was kicking my feet. It was so funny. I have a crush on Tyler. Like, I think he's so cute, which is weird because I did watch Everybody Hates Chris growing up, and I did not think he was cute in that, but I do think he's cute in this. I think he just needed to get older. Maybe that was it. Um, but I just love them, and I love Ava as the principal. Like she's just like everyone is just so kooky, and I love it. I love it. I think it's hilarious. I'm so glad that Quinta and everyone who is on that show honestly is getting their flowers and getting their laurels for the work that they're doing on the show because it's really good television. Like it's that perfect like once The Office and Parks and Rec and everything else went off air. Like this is just like the perfect show to kind of not only like replace those shows, but also kind of bring it forward in a way where you're like talking about some about education, like public education in like a major city, which like if you've been in that system, you know. So like I think it's really, really good. And I will be continue to actually I have to go back, watch again from season one and then bring myself up because the airplane only had season three. So whatever. Anyways, I will be watching. I am sad for that show. I think it's
Hmm.
great. And then I was watching Adolescence. Now, Adolescence is a show that has just been buzzing. Like everyone has been talking about it. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I need to get into it. And I like binged all 4 episodes. It's so good. The acting, the acting. Like talk about performance, like especially from the child actor, absolutely phenomenal. So good and like layered and complex. Like that is really hard to do. Like as a child actor to be able to like pull out all of that stuff. It's good that it's television, so it's like over 4 episodes, but like he was incredible. And like all of the actors are fantastic. Like just I don't know where some of these actors came from, like, but they are just doing their thing. Like they're absolutely eating it up. The story is so good. It's about a young kid who like gets arrested because of something, a suspected alleged incident. And it kind of talks about incel culture, but also just about like I would also say the justice system a little bit because they were making some critiques, but it wasn't like overtly the whole point of the story, but it was kind of that was in there. Um, but also just like what raising young men must be like right now
Hmm.
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
because there's a lot going on. And there's so much that's like out of your control because obviously it's happening online. So like there's so much that as a parent that you won't even know about unless you put in some guardrails, some blockers on certain websites or whatever. But like that was crazy. But also just how like easy it is to slip into those kinds of things. Like it's really easy. And I think that that's just like it's the social media companies being irresponsible, not having any regulation. It's a part of that. It's a part of content creators who are taking advantage of young people. That's in there too. But like you could literally just be like looking up videos about like working out and then somehow get into the manosphere, which is insane. It's insane that it's that easy to slip into that stuff.
Mm.
And I do know a person who is like into that and it's sad.
Yeah.
So like and that kind of preying on people's insecurities and then those people becoming violent, like that is very real. So like I think it's such a great timely show. I feel like everyone should watch it. I think in the UK they're about to like start showing it in schools and stuff.
Hmm.
So but it's an excellent show. I think everyone should watch it.
Yeah, mostly I agree with it. Like, and I had this, and then me as like an adult had the same conversation with my dad, and this is me after watching it, but also we were talking about stuff in general, and I was like, yeah, I think the issue is like, of course, as a parent, you want to have safeguards and have barriers in front. And I was like, I congratulate you and mom, like you maintained the delicate balance, you know, of giving us, proper rules, and then also like giving us the freedom to be individuals and to find stuff out on our own. And I was like, yeah, the only dumb thing I didn't like is like you guys didn't let me or my sisters go to our prom because you had this weird thing about Saturday super Adventist stuff about Friday nights and stuff like that. But I was like, other than that, you guys did like amazing job where, you know, I wild out within reason. I'm not doing it, I didn't become a YN, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And I think that response, but I think the issue now, I think with a lot of kids is I'm looking at it like a lot of parents parents now are my age. Like I do think my generation in general with this new crop of kids have done a poor job of like being really hands off, like saying, oh, okay, you're an independent person, a bit too much. At the end of the day, they're still children. So yeah, I think that's like a big issue nowadays with parents being too hands off and just letting their kids do whatever they feel or want to do. So
Yeah, it's such a complicated thing because the show kind of gets into it from everyone's perspective
yeah,
and like from the parents' perspective, from the kids' perspective. I feel like I don't know, for me it was different because it was like I grew up when the internet was just becoming
the internet, yeah,
and not just the internet, but like the social media version. It's like by the time Facebook came out, I was already like what 7 or something.
yeah,
So I wasn't it's like I understand the impact it makes because when it hit, like when Twitter hit, when all those things hit, I was like in high school.
yeah.
And so it was a big part of your life, but like you also were just like you were still engaging with other people. Like you weren't like cloistered off somewhere, like in your room,
Mm,
on your computer, on your laptop, on your iPad, whatever. And I feel like for younger people who have grown up with it, where it's like a part of their lives, I don't know what that does to to your brain. I'm not really sure how, because I feel like it messes up how you interact with other people. So that's I don't know what that's like, and I'm sure that for like the parents who are raising young children today, like I'm sure that that's something that our parents never had to deal with.
mm,
You know, it's just a very different situation, and it's unfortunate because it's like as our society has changed, as things have gotten more expensive, where it's like both of your parents got to go to work, like, or maybe it's too expensive to hire help, then that means that like you're letting your kids just stay home without, not anyone being like watching them, or you don't have time to do all of the maybe like hands-on things that you would want to do because you're at work, which is why during like the pandemic and people were home, like the children were able to get so much more out of those interactions because their parents were with them all day. But like now that that's over and everyone's back to work, it's a society that makes you have to work so much more where you're not able to spend that quality time with your kids. And then the kids are just like doing whatever because they're not being watched. It's a really terrible like cycle thing. And I don't know. It makes me not want to have kids. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Like,
so
it's weird because, like you said, like the change. Like I remember for me, like middle school was like MySpace, and then in high school it goes to Facebook, and then when I'm in college, Twitter comes out. So at least I had already grown up with social media.
Right.
I knew how to navigate. A lot of kids nowadays don't, and this, like I said, even before COVID, or even now, a lot of kids spend more time on the internet more than anything. So yeah, it's rough. And like I'm not gonna lie, I was a latchkey kid, and like I'd come home from middle school by myself. But the internet wasn't a thing. I had the computer in my room and got in trouble for it because they found me doing stuff, and then I got smarter. But still, the amount of content you could find on the internet wasn't the way it was. Like I wasn't somehow being put into like this red pill manosphere alt-right stuff at the frequency kids are. I was still finding, like, I'm not gonna lie, like young boy, of course, the first thing you look up any access to computers porn. Let's be honest. Like I did that, but I wasn't falling into like the trappings of incel ideology at the age like kids are now. So
yeah. And it wasn't like an industrial complex where you have people who are intentionally trying to like get young kids to believe all this stuff. Like it's a very different like ecosystem that we're all existing in, where it's just like you press the wrong video and and then you're just like down the tube of like whatever this insanity is. And young people who whose brains are not developed yet are just like soaking this stuff up. It's just really terrifying. It's just honestly really scary. So this was like a cautionary tale. I don't know, or maybe just a reminder of like, let's check on the children. They're not doing great.
It's what media, like social media is media, and it's influence on society. Like people assume Twitter and Facebook is just like people posting stuff, but it's a media outlet. Like news forums, videos are on there. Like they're all one giant media ecosystem. The key word is media. Much less social, more so media. So yeah. But
anyway, it's a great show. You guys should watch it. Okay, and that is it from us this week. That we hope that you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. Make sure to check out all of our social media, support us if you can, and we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Au revoir.